Hello everyone, welcome back. Well, the war is over, and after the war comes peace. And as great philosophers say, during times of peace, prepare for war. Now, I'm aware last time I said that the video would be quite boring, nothing would happen. We're going to be focusing internally, trying to rebuild. All hell broke loose, so hopefully it will remain quiet, but I'm sure you know by now that that's not always guaranteed. So whilst we go about the business of rebuilding, it occurs to me that I've not actually spoken about the way the economy in this game works. Now, I'll be honest, it's very complicated and I don't understand it fully, so I'll try my best, but there are much better resources out there if you want to learn about this properly. Now, a nation will have a monthly income and an annual income. The monthly income consists of tax, which is taken from each province as a population, and the higher the population, the more tax is paid. There's tax if you have any vassals, which we haven't really looked into yet. You'll also receive an income from here. And there's also little things here like harbour fees and tolls. I'm not sure how that works, I'm afraid, but it all adds up to tax, which is good for us. Production. This basically represents any economic activity that's taking place within your borders. It's very insignificant early game, but as the game progresses, it becomes far more important. Tariffs are the income that's taken from any overseas provinces you have. Next to each field here you'll have a percentage which shows how efficient you are at collecting each income. And the way tariffs works is that for each overseas province you have, you need to have either a large ship or a small ship to protect the sea lane. So if you have an equal amount of ships to provinces, you'll have 100% efficiency for tariffs. It's important to know with overseas provinces that you don't collect tax or production bonuses in the same way as you would do with a domestic province. Now, trade is where I'm not 100% sure about. There are these things called centres of trade scattered around the map, and you have the option to send merchants to them. Your compete chance is shown here, and that's determined by a lot of things. The most important one is infamy, but you can increase this by using national ideas or just investment in the trade tech tree. I can see that we still have a very good compete risk here, given that we own the centre of trade, so I should really be trying to keep that full up. So the more merchants you have in a centre of trade, the more money they'll send back to you. The centre of trade has a total value, here it's 353.7 ducats, and I believe that you take a chunk of that and it's proportional to your trade efficiency. Again, I'm not trying to be patronising, I'm not explaining it simply because it's too complicated, it's simply because I'm not too sure myself. So yeah, these are all monthly incomes, and when you collect them at the end of each month, they're pumped into research. Unless you're minting, in which case that just becomes money straight up. Also, at the end of each year, the entire monthly tax, 12 months worth of monthly tax is taken as one lump sum. We can see that here, that we'll be getting 31.86 at the end of each year. I believe I've mentioned briefly before, but not having a core in a province drastically reduces the amount of tax you get. We'll only ever be receiving 10% of the total tax from each province. So once we finally get cores on these provinces, which should happen in 50 years' time, we should see our tax income drastically increase. Brunei's here, still at war. It's always good to see. With research, you can see what will happen each time you level up here. You have a list of bonuses. Quite close to trade here, so the next level will increase our trade range, allowing us to compete in more centre of trades. Okay, more enemies for Brunei, that's good. It will increase the efficiency and also allow you to build trade buildings. Buildings, I believe I've touched along briefly. There's 6 areas here. Forts increase the defensiveness of each province. They'll increase the garrison you can have in each territory. Government that works towards reducing stability cost, reducing revolt risk, increasing your spy defense, and increasing your local tax modifier. So they're good things to have. Army, that's basically increasing the amount of manpower you have available, because the total manpower available is the sum of all the provinces. That's interesting. We have Mujafid's friendly rebels in Riau. Navy, similar to Army, but with ships, of course. Production, all these increase the economic activity in the region. Constables are very nice. They give a increase of 25% to the direct tax, which is good through month to month and also at the end of each year. And they're available so early, it's fantastic to have them. Khmer have taken the first chunk out of Brunei here. Yeah, trade. Again, trade, I'm not 100% sure how this works, but I believe each province has a trade good, and it interacts somehow with production, and you get a value, and that's sent to the centre of trade. So the total value of trade here depends on... Oh, here we go. It's dependent on all the contributions from each province that delivers goods to it. So you don't directly get any benefit from that, unless you have merchants in there taking a chunk of the income. Again, I really can't stress enough that I'm not the best source for this information. As far as research goes, you can either leave your sliders fairly evenly based. Malacca have reformed and declared war on Brunei. Brunei really is up for grabs here. I would like to get involved, I suppose, but we're happy just regrouping, recovering our manpower. Our war exhaustion is still quite high, but it is decreasing. I tend to like to focus on one particular field at a time. The sooner you get the bonus, the longer you'll have it, basically. So yeah, we've gone up a level in trade tech. We can build a marketplace, which will basically increase our trade income modifier by 10%. So there's all good things to have, but it's not really a priority at the moment. I believe increasing the trade income will increase the value of the centre of trade. If you're watching and you know, share your wisdom. It's always going to be welcome. Ah, so they have taken this territory proper. That it was ceded to them in a peace treaty. It would be nice to get some temples built, but at the moment I'm really trying to bring the economy back under control. Inflation has been neglected, and we're up to 7%, and that's higher than I'm comfortable with. Don't get me wrong, it's been a good trade-off. We wouldn't have been able to expand so far without the money we've received from minting, but it's best to keep it under control when possible. We've only got a 2-star guy working on reducing inflation, so I'm going to see if we can't get a better dude. Level 3, so not really, but every little helps. Okay, that's good. We're minting at a level where inflation is practically stationary. It's not decreasing, but we're running a very, very tiny deficit, so that's fine. Fine by me. Ooh. Good governments would sometimes prompt the nobility and the businessmen of the realm to donate cash to the treasury out of pure patriotism or in exchange for the sale or transfer of honorary titles and positions. We can gain 1 prestige or 113 ducats. 1 prestige or bajillion pounds. Thank you very much. I shall use these proceeds and build temples. Just as soon as I have a magistrate. Now if Majafit do take this territory, there's going to be a war between us. As I've mentioned, our main goal here is to form Malaya. Now to do that we require the 5 territories here in West Java. I believe that's Java. And we basically need to hold what we have here and the entirety of this island, or the entirety of Brunei. I'd forgotten about this little island here. We definitely need that. So whoever holds that will be our next target. I do want all of the land that Malaya will have a core on, but I'm also going to be heading north afterwards. You know, these guys have given me nothing but grief. We require payback. Also, one more thing I'm not sure if I mentioned or not is the revolt risk in a province will actually reduce the amount of income you receive from it. So having buildings that will reduce that is also giving you the added bonus of increased income. There you go. It would be very interesting to see each nation each hold a particular chunk of land. As far as infamy goes, we're okay. We're just over half of the allowed balance, sorry. That's coming down at a rate of 0.4 per year. I don't know how much of this territory I will eventually colonise. I think, to be honest, once we've formed Malaya and dealt with the Northern Territories here, there's not going to be an awful lot to actually focus on. I mean, I wouldn't mind playing the game through to the later times and trying to westernise, but in terms of a let's play, that's going to get very old very quickly. Yeah, just checking everywhere. It's fortified. And we have a magistrate, so stick it in Lampung. The next tier of government buildings is the courthouse, which reduces revolt risk, so I find it best to concentrate on those areas. Things are looking manageable under a revolt front. I suspect Majafit will be piecing out soon. They hold 2 chunks of territory. And the last one has fallen. Okay, so again the Holy War casts a spell against Majafit. I did think the whole area here was Sunni, but no, it does appear that we have some Hindu neighbours. So it's good that we have a casus belli on them, because we do need some of their land. So, I wonder... We've not had much luck with our navy so far, but we're dealing with 1 big ship and 4 transports, and I have the incredibly lucky Paramaswara and 7 big ships to help him out, but I'm sure if that ship will be fine. The only thing to concern ourselves with is Pegudo. No navy to worry about as such. As far as the army goes, we seem to have encountered the frankly annoying situation of the fact that they have no army. And yeah, they're frantically rebuilding. Oh, excuse me guys, I have a phone call. Be right back. And I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, the arrival of some rebels has pretty much stopped our plans for going to war. But, you know, all in good time. Ligur only has a 2.4% chance of spawning rebels, so it's quite unfortunate. Yeah, it's another magistrate. So I think we'll favour the province with the highest tax revenue. Unfortunately we can't follow the rebels, but they seem to be taken care of, so without further ado, whether or not we'll be able to get them to cede this province is anyone's guess at this stage. Okay, Pegu have joined in, but we know their situation with regards to their army, and the rebels aren't really going to pose a problem. I've no idea where Bihar is, but oh, it's a rather large, scary-looking province to the north. They are currently in their own war, though, quite a large one by the looks of things. So hopefully they won't prove to be a problem. And we all know how that's likely to turn out. Oh right, better start paying our men. As here, due to the size of the army we're building, we are losing 10 ducats a year. And we're minting at a level that's only just reducing inflation. So really our break-even point is inflationary. Which isn't good. I wonder if they'll be interested in an alliance. I don't need this territory to form Malaya. Nah. It would have been nice, I suppose. Okay, we've chased the rebels away again. So think what you will about the habit of the nation to disband its armies, but it sure can rebuild them pretty quickly. In 4,000 there already? We're due to go under. Let's mint money. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Bihar, due to their size, are leading this war, so negotiations we'll eventually go through them, but at least I can still deal with Majafid directly, which is nice. Here come the rebels, they're certainly not giving up. We discovered territory. Where's Bangalore? Okay, that's been revealed because somebody else has joined in the alliance. Again, quite another large looking nation. Hopefully the war they're embroiled in will be enough to keep them away from our shores. Cascading alliance is a pretty painful feature of the game. What starts out as a small war between two nations can usually quickly escalate into the whole of Europe getting involved if you're playing over there. So they're refusing us access to their centres of trade, which isn't so much of a problem because we're not actually trading in there. Let's give you a casus belli though. And rebels have been taken care of. So now we're just waiting for this siege to finish. Pegu have now got 5,000 men and they are advancing. Just put a general in there. My general is so badass. Assigning him to the army made them change their minds about attacking. Is it enough to scare them into a peace? No. I'm very interested to see if there'll be anything left of Brunei after this. Again, we do need Borneo here, but we weakened them to the extent that everybody dogpiled on them. Now I have learnt that undiscovered provinces here, as long as somebody's discovered them, within 50 years of that happening, they will become visible to other nations. Okay, they've now reinforced and are on their way. Our policy of free trade is allowing our merchants to expand our trade. So Champa lose a merchant and we gain a merchant. Unfortunately though, we are already operating at our maximum. We can only have 5 merchants in there at this stage. Once you advance in tech far enough, you can get 6 merchants in, and when that happens you'll hold a monopoly. And that will drastically increase your trade income. Am I paying you? Yes, fantastic. I'm going to follow them here. I will beat them to their territory. Just hoping, as usual, that defeating the army will be enough to peace them out. If we do get rid of them from the war, I've got more troops to send down here when we attack the mainland. Is that going to be enough, or will I need to take some land from you? Have you built a fort yet? Yes, you have. Grr. Well, no sign yet of these 2 monsters getting involved. What's our mission at the moment? Create a fleet. I can't really afford to build 9 more ships at the moment. Okay, good. We now have the ability to build constables. They're a very, very good thing to have in your country. Okay, we've won the siege. Whether they'll be interested in ceding it though is another issue. Not until we get down here to really show them who's winning. First things first though. Okay, we forced their navy out. We're not going to be able to fight them. You'd think, wouldn't you, that if you held all of their territory, all their territory is under siege, they've got no army, you'd think they'd want to form a peace. But no. I'm just doing this because I'd like to check that they don't have any armies out here. Now they have managed to construct a troop that we were unable to defeat in time. So I'll try and spread out our forces a bit more evenly. Now, having said that, this is where the next troop's being built, so... Given the size of this nation, and the fact that they have been causing us a heck of a lot of grief so far, if possible, I think I may try to vassalise them. When you vassalise a country, half of their tax income does come straight to you, so we'll get a nice boost to our economy, which we desperately need. And yeah, if we form an alliance with them, which they have no choice but to accept, then we'll have a friendly a friendly nation in the region. It's going to be quite strange, but most desirable. I mean, I definitely don't want to annex any of this territory. Now that is worrisome. Bihar have now got a very powerful vassal. Or, not so much powerful, but large. They are, however, still at war with a few nations. They're fighting 4 separate wars here, which is good. Naturally, the more wars they're involved in, the less likely it'll be that they'll get involved down here, because it's not really we're not really a threat to them. It doesn't work that way, of course. I think the AI just has a look at who it's at war with, and just sends troops there willy-nilly. Vassalising a country without a proper casus belli will give us 4 infamy. I mean, it's well within acceptable levels at the moment, but it can rack up pretty easily. So it's something to be aware of. Now there's a breach in the fort. Let's go. Okay, great. Now if you refuse a peace, I will be very angry. Okay, fantastic. If you could just cancel your alliances. Yeah, for infamy. So once we have a diplomat available, which will happen on the 26th of January, we can enter into an alliance with these guys. Yeah, a good example of why vassals are useful. They'll join your wars automatically. Again, I'm hoping that they're far enough away to not be a problem. So as you can see here, we're getting 0.8 ducats a month just from having a vassal. A warning from Khmer. In fact, a naval battle. And they sneakily managed to land troops. I am impressed. Now our relationship is going to be steadily falling with our vassal, which isn't a great situation, mainly due to the fact that we have high infamy. Infamy really screws up your relations with other countries, but that's not surprising given that it's really a measure of just how hated you are, or how controversial a nation you've become. So constables, you want them in high tax provinces and with a core. So one in our capital will be a wonderful addition. We're doing quite well against this navy. Hopefully we'll be able to capture some ships. We captured Poen, which was a transport. Hang on, am I reading this correctly? Yeah, we didn't lose any ships, we just gained a transport. So in the meantime... Oh, all the rotten timing. The disputed succession of Paramasvara has caused the pretender to raise an army and march for the capital. So 3 troops rise up in Pahang. And the reason this happened was because our ruler has died. And we've gained a fairly decent new leader. But because he had a very weak claim to the throne, we have rebels. Just 3 though, so... I'd like to deal with the rebels before we head back to Riau. I believe we had enough time to reinforce it fully. Well, not fully, but almost. Hopefully this will be a quick and decisive battle. Not quite decisive. sending in more troops, that's quite annoying. Bihar have finished another war. In fact, there's only us and a horde that they are still at war with. And somebody else has just jumped in. How's the situation looking? Yeah, hopefully these guys are still far enough away to not be a problem. Okay, no ships captured this time. No ships sunk either. Oh, stubborn rebels. Okay, we managed to sink a ship there. I'm not too sure why it's only had two. This war's getting bigger and bigger. Okay, it's good to know that they'll accept a concession of defeat. And we have got a vassal out of this situation, so it wouldn't be a complete write-off if we were to end it prematurely. But, you know, no one's shown up yet. They may have no heart to fight in this war. Ah, okay, now it just got serious. They're a neighbour. A neighbour with only 3 provinces. Can you guess what I am thinking? Yes, we're going to bake cookies and send them to them as a gesture of love and friendship. I'm certainly not going to give them money, that's for sure. Can we bring them in? Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, okay, they've landed. Okay, I think to be honest now would be a good time to just chicken out and get out of this war. We've gained a vassal, we've strengthened our northern position. We'll try again, but right now we can't deal with all these nations. I mean, look, that's 15,000 regiments here, and that's not including their vassals. We don't want to get involved with this. We have no business getting involved around there anyway. So, yeah, we've all peaced out. Bit of an anticlimax, but hey, we've gained a little bit, not lost anything. Other than these damn rebels. Okay, there are claims that local fishermen have improved ship design. If we do a careful study of their ships and try building a copy, our best admirals believe that our naval technology will benefit a lot for the future. You guys know the situation with inflation by now. I mean, even IUFA had a pretty formidable force. I can't quite remember, I'll have to check back in the video, but I believe it was Pegu who had the alliance with these nations. And now they've been vassalised, they shouldn't be bringing them back into the war if we do so again in the future. Okay, and here we see the fate of Brunei, everyone. Borneo is now held by... well, 1/3 is held by Makassar, the rest is divided by Champa and Khmer. So it's good to see Brunei out of the game. As long as these guys don't form any kind of crazy alliance pact, then conquering this stretch of land should be simpler. But that really is a story for another Let's Play. Or another episode, rather. I'll just finish off these rebels and I'll call it for today. Yeah, okay. Well, we've not really developed much. We've extended our influence north. It's a good thing to have. It's a little bump to our economical situation. Bit of a navy recovered. It's a shame we couldn't get to work on this island, but the risk was just too great, I'm afraid. There are some big nations here getting involved. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.